Again, and we're back here with, well, we're just going to do whatever it is. So before I was mentioning how the snowplow had droopy eyes, the issue is I need to beef up my suspension on my truck. I got a half-ton truck. It's a 2004 Dodge Ram, and it actually is a Dodge Ram, not just a Ram, a Dodge Ram. So I picked these up. These were delivered by the Amazon Ferry, actually the Amazon Ferry via USPS. And what these things are, they're with Timbren, I think is how you pronounce Timbren. And they're basically just big pieces of rubber that replace existing pieces of rubber. They have a cutout of it right here. If you look at it, that's the nice dark black piece is actually already on the truck. And the little rubber piece is the new part. There is a rubber piece in there, but it's a really shallow piece, and there's a huge gap between there and the control arm that it sits on. So this is supposed to relieve that, and what it's supposed to do is actually boost up the front end. They're basically bigger pieces of rubber. Now, if you look inside of them, they are hollow, and they actually hollow out. You see how they're kind of cone-shaped. They hollow out as the cone shape, so they will still compress and help the suspension go up and down, but at the same time it kind of helps the suspension make it more solid so it doesn't have as much sag in it. So this says that they will install in minutes. We'll see. But yeah, let's go get the truck ready, get her jacked up. One of the things that they mentioned in the instructions, and I actually surprisingly read the instructions, that your wheels have to be free. So you want to make sure to jack up from the frame. So let's go get the truck ready and take a look. So this is where we're at. Underneath the wheel here, there's this part here. There's this rubber gasket here that has to come off. And I'm not seeing any way to really take it off. But that's what we're replacing. A bunch of gravel in there. Maybe if I dig the gravel off enough, I'll get nothing. I'm just going to try prying it off and see what happens. Alright, so before we get started prying, we just want to make sure that there's nothing else on here that it could possibly be. It doesn't really match up with the pictures at all. And I don't know how that's really going to work. I'm looking at the pictures. But yeah, it looks like that's the only part there it can be. So it seems pretty loose. Let me put the camera down and try to get underneath this better. I'll be back with you. Hopefully I'll have it off. Okay, I brought in a little bit more light. We got it out. I cleaned up the hole a little bit just by shoving the pry bar through it, but you can see, yeah, it's a 2004. But there's our rubber bump stop. There's the bottom. There's the top. There's really nothing that holds it in there. It just kind of pressure, so that makes me feel a little bit better as I look to move forward with it, that this will work and this will hold. So in all this, we ended up with a snag. They give you this screw right here with these little thumb screws on it to go into here. However, even if you hit the hole, it's not long enough to actually be able to grab onto anything. So we're going to need to get a standard bolt, something like this. I could probably use this bolt. This is the correct size bolt for it. It's probably long enough to do it too, and I just need to find a way to put a socket or something down that hole to hold the head on. But I'm a little weary because I'm dealing with suspension parts. I kind of want a hardened bolt for this if I'm going to put a bolt on that. So we're going to have to go run to the hardware store, see if we can find a hardened bolt with those threads about that distance. Shouldn't actually be too very hard to do. And then I'll actually probably bring this one with me to use, because that's about how long you need it and everything else. So, and check the threads on it while I'm there, make sure I got the right one, get a hardened bolt, just for safety and sanity reasons. But so what we're going to go ahead and do is take our little rubber grommet, push it back in. I might need to grab a hammer and pound it in, and then we'll just yeah, we'll go ahead and we'll start back from square one. All right, well, this is one company that failed me. I paid how much for this, and they can't even give me bolts that work. Well, we'll keep it going. Well, apparently minutes are going to become days. Yeah, I'm a little disappointed. We're not going to be able to get these things on today because of this little bolt here. The unfortunate part is, because the way that arm works, this bolt won't fit. I need a bolt that is going to be about that long, probably just something with a standard head on it. They welded this little fancy thing on there. I guess they thought they were going to be kind. I'm a little weary about just using a standard stainless steel bolt that I have sitting around that would actually work. It's the right thread, the right size, the right length. But I kind of want to go with a hardened bolt. So we're going to stop over at the hardware store tomorrow and find a bolt. Maybe I can find a stainless steel hardened bolt. I've never really seen a stainless steel hardened bolt though. So, but I'll go through the hardware section and figure it all out. But yeah, we'll find something the right length with a normal head on it, and that will hopefully work, and we'll be able to pop these suckers on tomorrow. So right now, tonight, I will probably be writing an interesting email to the company who I really don't know how to pronounce their name. Timbren, I guess, Timbren, and let them know that your modifications stink. Anyways, so, well, see you tomorrow. Okay, we're on day 2 of the, what was it called? The Timbren suspension adjustments for the snowplow. So I picked up some new bolts. I actually went with 2. I actually got 4 bolts. I only need 2, but they're different kinds of bolts. So I found one that was 8 hardness, right thread. It's 7/16 14 coarse thread, and it's got these little, and if you can see through the package here, the little washer ends on the top of it. I don't know if that's going to clear. These are the bolts I prefer to use if I can get them in the hole and get them working and everything. And then I got some 5 hardness. They did not have the 8 hardness in these. I did look for them, but the 7/16, yeah, they're 1.5 inches long, coarse thread. But yeah, these are grade 5. So these do not have the washer on the end. So I'm hoping one of these 2 bolts will work. I'm not exactly ecstatic about these. I would prefer to have the 8 hardness. But it should hopefully, this should hold it. I mean, it's probably even overkill for what's really needed. So we'll get out to the truck and we'll go take it apart and start going back to where we were before. All right, hopefully one of these 2 will be the solution. So here we are back where we left off. I have driven this today. I had to do some work, take the trailer out, do some mowing, and I'm really surprised that part was actually put in and stayed. See how easy that just kind of popped out. So we're going to try our 8 hardness bolt first. Let's see if we can get some of this crud cleared out of here. Lots and lots of crud. $16 years worth of crud. It's actually pretty clean now. And we're going to start with our 8 hardness bolt with the washer. Slip it back there and see if we can get it in there. And nope, the washer's hitting. All right. Wow. So that made everything a lot easier. So getting one of these little magnetic reach tools, if you're playing with these, might be a good idea, especially if you're dealing with this same style. Now I need to get the other bolt out and open that package. The other bolt. Okay, we got the hole hit. That seems to be pretty straight in there. So it looks like that one will work. Now, one of the issues is I'm not going to be able to get at that with a wrench or anything else probably, just by the way that hole is lined up. I did bring a socket out to give it a try, but I'm not looking, yeah, that's not going to fit. So looks like I might have to try to manually handle it. Otherwise, maybe I can get a wrench in there. We'll see just if I can twist it by hand, how well that will work. So, premise is, figure out a place to set this down where you can actually see what I'm doing. It's a DIY YouTube video. Woohoo! Wait while I try to make up a tripod. Somehow. Oh, there's our bolt. So then that's the spacer goes on, so then the rubber thing goes on top of it. Checked and this was the right threads. Yeah, that's the right thread. So I don't know if they didn't drill those holes big enough. So we might have a strike 2 here. I'm gonna go grab a rubber hammer. Yeah, that did nothing. There's no threads in it. So, yeah, let me go ahead and stop this and I'll figure it out. Okay, so I'm working with one of 2 solutions. One is to try to drill the hole out bigger. The other one, I'm going to take a tap and try to thread it, because it's just slightly a little too small. I think it's going to be easier to tap it, and then I'll have to screw it on as opposed to just sliding on. But that should actually work, I'm hoping. If I can actually get the tap in there. So the tap holder isn't quite working. It's hitting the vise. So we're going to do this the old-fashioned way. I'm going to need 2 hands to do this, but basically turn it with a wrench or a pair of pliers and thread those out. And hopefully then we'll have something that we can use. So I ended up using an adjustable wrench to turn that around. Pliers were kind of slipping. We got it all the way through. Might be able to give it a couple more cranks just to be safe here. But then we'll just back it out, and then hopefully we have something that will work. I mean, we'll have to screw it on that bolt, but we should hopefully have something that will actually fit on that bolt, because this is the exact size tap we need. All right, you can see some nice threads in that, and hopefully that works. I mean, this is taking a lot of modification for something that was supposed to take only minutes. So we have our extra bolt here, and what we can do is screw it on. Let's see. Set the camera down so you can see it. And this should be able to screw in. This is our second bolt for the other side, and it's screwing in. So that's a plus. However, we might need to figure out how to get something in there to really lock it down. So yeah, that's going all the way through. So we have a winner. All right, so we have our bolt in there. Good if it doesn't, but maybe it's gripped it enough. good shake. It's not going anywhere. So, all right. So it looks like that's in there. I'm pretty sure that's going to hold pretty good too. So much for taking minutes. Took days technically because they just didn't send the right proper hardware to go with it. And I had to do all kinds of modification just to get it there. So now I know what to do with the next one. I'll move on to the next side. I probably won't take you with me though. So, and then from there we can see how well they actually work and hold up. We got it in. I just wanted to see how that sits in there. So it's supposed to, it is actually supposed to sit down on this. I'm gonna guess it's gonna settle a little bit as time goes on and actually sit properly. I might just need to snug in, hit a bump or two. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I thought it would sit a little flatter, but I guess it doesn't. And yeah, so that should help with the pull down of the snowplow, hopefully. And it's supposed to do a lot of other stuff too, which we'll find out, I guess. So on to the next side and go through this same mess. All right, so we just finished up with the Timbren front suspension upgrade. As far as install is concerned, I have to give them an F. They said installs in minutes. It took hours. They didn't give the same kind. They don't even give the same kind of hardware they show in the picture, let alone, you know, the proper stuff. It was disappointing. They said it will install with a screwdriver. Yeah, so I used a pry bar instead of a screwdriver, which actually probably worked better. But then I also needed a wrench, a stubby wrench, a magnetic tool, a rubber hammer, the pliers of death, not to mention the tap that I had to use to make those threads. And on the second one, I ended up having to drill those threads out. What took so long, actually, of the processes, I got it on there and it was really loose for some reason. So I had to take it all apart, and that's what took that was the hardest part, was trying to get it back apart. Take that off, and I just drilled it out with a 1/2-inch drill bit. So I actually used a drill and a drill bit too to get this done, because it just wasn't seating right, and I didn't want to hear it clank, clank, clank. The two sides aren't really sitting right either. One of them's sitting on the control arm. The other one actually has a gap. So I'm guessing that it's either has to deal with the way the truck's sitting in the driveway. It's not quite the most level driveway. Or maybe something's bent under there. I don't know. That's probably an issue more with the truck than it is with their parts. I looked at the product and it said made in Canada. I was actually expecting it to say made in China. Canada, I expect better out of you. What can I say? So I'll probably wait a little while and then send them a nice email about how I'm not pleased with the install. It's really late right now. I got to get to bed. And so I'm not going to be able to take it out, test it out, see how it rolls. But hopefully what they claim it does holds up. Because the install doesn't hold up to what they said it was going to do. So this has been kind of a disappointing night. Hopefully tomorrow's a better day. Okay, we're on the maiden voyage with the Timbren suspension enhancement. So far I have not been too impressed. I mean, you're basically feeling every single little bump in the road. Steering does not seem to handle better. It's actually seems a little worse. We're getting ready to go over some railroad tracks as soon as the light turns green, and we can see how well it handles over those. These are actually some pretty rough tracks, but so far I've been very much, you know, I guess you say disappointed. And here we go. That actually did impress me a little bit. It seemed to handle pretty good over those railroad tracks, and seemed very stable, more stable than it normally is. So maybe what it really needs is just some new shocks, and from there we can go ahead and actually really assess it properly. But yeah, so far I have not been to enjoyment. I mean, usually I don't feel this road. I can feel this road. It's a little wavy. It's a fairly new road, but it's a wavy road. They didn't do a very good job putting it in. So yeah, so right now I'm not given even the handling on these things very well, because we just have to see how well they do. It's no problem.